Welcome back to the Forex Fortress and another big Monday as we get ready for a monthly close, actually coming a little bit later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time for cryptocurrency land and for Forex land. That's, well, actually, I believe that's in 10 hours and 53 minutes and 8 seconds. So with that in mind, it's time for preparation and it's time to look at good old Dixie, of which we did see the breakdown yesterday that I was not looking for. I was actually, this was actually something that, I was actually looking for this area to hold up last week. But again, that is why I do have these defined levels and a clean break on the lows. Next stop, 91.5, of which, I guess we already got there. So maybe a little bit of a short-term bounce in our current area. But here's the thing, the monthly setting up is likely to reach at the very least down a little bit lower, another buck or so down towards about 90-70ish region, somewhere around the 200x benchmark average is where I'd be looking for the next potential big bounce. As it is right now though, it looks like it is actually going to topple on over, and this could get really fucking ugly long term. But at least for now, short term, medium term, and long term, pretty much all bearish on this, which is essentially going to have bullish biases on anything that trades against US dollar. That means, Forex currencies, obviously, it's going to be the most applicable, but that also applies to US equities and cryptocurrencies as well. So with that in mind, that is going to be the big bad thing today, and I would be bearish coming actually into the month of December, looking for that. Let's exactly nail it down where it is. Somewhere right around here, about 90.75, we'll call it. So with that said, we'll start off with good old Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar. What are you doing on the monthly? Looks like it wants to continue up to the 89. So perhaps coming into December, I would be targeting somewhere around about 75.75 or so. Looking at the low term time frames, though, is that relevant for today? No, obviously not. Short term, I'd be looking for a pullback on this. I imagine we probably have some pretty nasty bearish divergence. And actually, no, we don't. Actually, no, we don't. But we do have a pretty nasty jewel sell signal right here. It's not perfect, but I do think that it probably does get a little bit of play right there. And if I did have to target things, I'd probably be looking for a move back down somewhere around about 73.5 cents, but that does not make me bearish on the long term. The long term, as we looked at on the monthly, does look good as it is right now, and fucking hell, man, even the 12-hour and the daily, I imagine, look like they almost want to go parabolic right here. But yes, I would be looking for a short-term pullback, and then probably in the month of December, continuation onto the upside to those later targets. But short-term, yes, pullback. Anyways, moving on to CAD dollar. What do we have over here? Probably more or less the same if I had to guess, as these things two typically trade together. I would like to see a backfill on that 77.25 tick before I do look for an actual pullback here on the short-term time frames. So I'm a little bit hesitant to make any sort of a short-term call right here. If anything, actually, I'd be looking for a little bit of a slider move to the upside and then play out a pullback from about 77.25. But I imagine that daily, weekly, monthly probably are looking good here. Daily's continuation up towards 77.5. So I have to be bullish on the medium term. Weekly's bullish right here as well. I'd be looking for 77.5 as well. Monthly does have greater targets. Next level would be about 78.25, we'll call it. So into the month of December. So, if it does want to pull back here on the short-term time frames, I do think that it'll mostly be short-lived and I'd be looking for further continuation onto those next targets. That's basically bullish on all time frames, similar to what we saw on Aussie dollar as well. Moving on to euro pound right here. What do we see? This one doing all sorts of weird things, but let's see. What does weekly look like right here? I probably would be looking for another move to the upside, but long term, would I be bearish on this one? Probably yes. Let's actually see what the monthly looks like right now. This is a fucking weird chart. Looking at the monthly, actually, I have no call on the long term. Actually, here, there's nothing really at stake right now. If anything, I mean, it is above all major moving averages, so I shouldn't really be bearish on it. But short term, what do we see? Short term grounded up against the 200 simple, 200x benchmark average, but and putting a little bit of potential bearish divergence right there. So maybe short term, a little bit of a pullback, maybe back down to 89.5 cents, but daily, weekly, monthly, or at least daily, weekly, both look like they do want to extend this move a little bit more to the upside. Just above 90 cents is what I'd be looking for on the next short term pivot. Yeah, 90.25. 90.25 is what I'd be looking towards. So short term, maybe a little bit of downside. Don't really feel too confident on that. Medium term, though, upside. Monthly, no call. Euro dollar, motherfucker. Yeah, we closed above the pivot last week at 119, and that is going to initiate targets up to what's our next level right here? Oh, I deleted everything on this chart, motherfucker. Like I said, it's time to redo it anyways, but next short-term area, it would be about 121, and then we do have obviously this level right here as well at about 123.5. But realistically, this one's a clean breakout, and I would be looking for a move towards 121. So that is all coming along the side of a golden cross on the weekly moving averages between the 55 and the 200. On the monthly, is there any monthly targets within this region? No, it just looks like a little bit of a fake out, and then pop back on up immediately. So fair enough right there. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to continue onwards and upwards. Next medium term stop 121, and then above there I'd be looking for about 123.5 to 1.25 overall. Moving on to pound yen, what do we see? Still long-term bearish, but short term, what do we see on the 4-hour? 4-hour probably does pop back up here, probably back up towards 139.25. Let's see what momentum also to say right now. Yeah, they would agree with that. So short term, yep, a little bit of upside here. Daily, no, I'd actually be looking for a move back onto the downside, maybe a little bit later this week, probably back down to about 138 base. And weekly says to be a buyer at that 138 base, so this one's a little bit more difficult, but short term up, or at least, hold on, let's go back on over here. Yeah, short term up, but I would be looking for things to probably top back on, somewhere right around here, and then medium term probably back down to that 38 base, and then I'd be looking for that next move to the upside. Of course, though, macro, I'm still bearish on, as we do see this ascending trend line getting all the major highs since February 2018 coming in 141.5, so that would be a natural area of interest as well. What else we got? We got pound dollar over here, and going down to the low-term time frames. What do we see? Low-term time frames, a little bit of downside action. It looks like momentum oscillator is all pointed kind of southwards right now, but is that consequential, or is that consequential in and of itself? Yeah, I'd probably be looking for this one to come back down and play around about 132.5 actually. What about weekly? Same thing here as well. I do think that this one will actually get more upside long term, but short term likely does play back down a little bit as it bounces off that long term trend line. So going back on over here, yeah, probably looking for another move back down to about 132.5 and likely a bounce there. Moving on to yen dollar, what do we see right here? Down is the name of the game, and I'd be looking for a little bit more downside action on this, probably back down towards about 95.60-ish region, 95.65 perhaps. Looking at a daily right here. Yeah, a little bit of a rejection to start off the week, and looking at the weekly as well, that would be right in line actually with the 10 simple. So yes, I would be looking for a bounce at that level, but first move down to 95, let's call it 95.65, and then bounce there. Moving on to Nasdaq futures, do we have new all-time highs yet, or are we still waiting with our fucking pants around our ankles? Come on, Nasdaq, load up, you silly you lovely chart, you. Yeah, I'm looking for new all-time highs on this one. Weekly, monthly, both incredibly bullish. So there you go. I really, short-term time frames, I don't care about this right here. Long-term, it's looking good. Gold almost at our 1750 target. Hey, sweet one. All right, hey, actually getting some right, because apparently I've been getting Bitcoin very right recently, at least for my biases. But maybe I should just go trade gold for now. 1750 is where I'm still looking for on a weekly. Down to the 55 exponential average right here, and then bounce there. I feel pretty damn good about this one. Daily obviously came down to our 1800 target. Small bounce there, immediately sold into. Continuation 1750. Probably bigger bounce at 1750, and then we'll come back to it after that. Bitcoin, let's go follow up on Bitcoin. So we did say in this morning's video, likely another test back up to 18.8, but I would probably be looking for a rejection there. Looks like Crown's going to be wrong AF once again, but of course that is why I have to separate my biases from actual technical analysis in this case right here. No harm, no foul on this one. Actually even did try another short right around or right under 18.8. And as you can guess, already stopped out. Nice one. Jesus fucking Christ, man. All you have to do in this market is just get long right now. So TA, go away and let's just be friends with the trend for a little bit of time. But I'd still stick with what I said earlier. I do think that it's appropriate to be defensive within this region just based off of prior price action. Let's see, where's my fib? My fib isn't here right now. All right, let's or did I put it on BitMEX? Well, that is one fib, but that's not the one that I'm looking for. I was actually looking for a bullish retracement on this one, so let's populate that. I imagine we're probably well above the 236 right now. And let's see, whoops, wrong way. Let's do this as a bullish retracement, seeing as this is, well, quite literally an uptrend. And what do we got? Yeah, we're right at the 236, right? Or sorry, we're actually living above the 236 right now. That's in a nice little range between about 18.8 and 18.750. So technically speaking, it will have a chance to confirm on this next dildo closure in 2 hours, 44 minutes, and 15 seconds. If that does happen, I look for extension to 19.3. And then coming into the month of December, I'm looking for new all-time highs. I'm also simultaneously looking for another move back down, probably wherever the topside Toronto band is on this on the monthly here, but that's gonna likely move around quite significantly. Probably another well, let's see. So from October to November, we rose up actually $2,000. So if we rose up another $2,000 from where we are right now, that'd be 17,300 obviously. And I'd basically be looking to be a buyer right around there. So the way that Bitcoin closes this month is essentially going to set in my bias of where I want to be a buyer coming into the month of December, assuming that it does close, essentially anywhere pure higher than like 18,000 bucks, which is looking relatively likely. However, you know, we've all seen crazier things happen, you know, than like a few $100 move or sorry, a few $1,000 move in the course of a day. But you know, it's looking relatively likely here. So fair enough. You know, I remain humbled once again by the power of the Bitcoin boo laws, and you know, I still want to see confirmation on this, so I'd still basically hold on to what I said earlier, though. I'd probably be looking for it to grind this area out at the 236, also that last big breakdown area at 18.8. If we do see a closure above, yes, like I said, 19.3 would be the next short-term target, and then likely continuation implied after maybe a short-term pullback after that. However, until this actually does confirm above, I do have to, you know, as a trader, go with what I kind of laid out before, and essentially looking at this as a pullback area, regardless of the fact, likely coming back down to about, oh, well, motherfucker, man. I guess I must have missed this. I was at the gym earlier this morning. We actually did get the pullback. Oh, motherfucker, I missed the pull. God damn it. Lifting things up and putting them down, very fucking expensive sometimes when you miss your entries. But in this case right here, yeah, not ideal, as I complain to the other of the world. But yes, you know, we did essentially get that pullback to that first major level right here. The buy up was the key, though. The buy up was the fucking key, as it does end as a nice hammer. And this is coming alongside of all major momentum oscillators. Well, 4-hour RSI is looking very good here. 4-hour Stokes a little bit more problematic. However, still nice and up and at 'em and very erect. Let's see what CMEs have to say about that. Completely different story. Completely different story, actually. Both 4-hour RSI and 4-hour Stokes are actually looking pretty damn good here. Yes, there is a massive gap. However, that doesn't mean that it has to be filled like today or tomorrow. I imagine that assuming that 18.8 is closed above on a 4-hour total closure, I'd probably be looking for that to get filled maybe sometime in December, and that's going to be the next big opportunity probably that I'm looking for potentially a long-term leverage long. But this is also another good time to kind of bring up another thing that I think a lot of people are, or at least, you know, having some conversations in Discord, I could probably be a little more clear about this. I do have Bitcoin that I just hold on no matter what, you know, it's like just there, so that I never feel like I'm missing out on these moves. Because I was in a conversation earlier today with Mr. Craig over here. he's been a very popular man as of recent. I actually really like him. He's got some very strong opinions. Maybe could be more on the diplomatic side sometimes, but but if you know him, you'll get it. But you know, overall, he's a very good guy. And he was saying, Crown, you know, why are you taking those sorts of positions in this area? Why are you not just, you know, buying alongside the trend? Isn't it your friend? It's like, well, yes, it is. But when I'm looking for a long-term leverage long, that's a different story than just jumping in because Bitcoin price action is like short-term bullish here. What I'm really looking for is like a long-term setup. And while it looks like patience may not be a virtue for this past week, and things might actually even move on to new all-time highs from quite literally where we are right now, I still will not trade until I get exactly what I want to see. And that's just my disposition as a trader. It doesn't mean that's right or wrong for you. Just that's the way that I like it. And the reason why I feel comfortable with that is I always have that, you know, that sack of Bitcoin that's just kind of sitting there. So I never really feel like I'm being left out of these what can be very FOMO-inducing type rallies. You know, one thing that I really want to remind myself, and perhaps remind other people out there as well, is that you know, the euphoria in this market will end at some time, obviously, but it's also important to enjoy it at the same time as well. For those of you who were around in 2017, 2018, you know this all too well, and I imagine we're probably going to see something relatively similar here as well. But you know, for the time being, I mean, realistically, I'm generally bullish, as I've been saying ever since Bitcoin broke about 11,500 down here, for the next, you know, probably next year or two, something like that. And I'm essentially looking to buy these major lows, but with this one right here, I suppose, at least for now. And I do still think that patience is at least the name of the game for myself, because I know that that's what's going to keep me in the game long term, even though I might not be doing as well as just everyone who's fucking buying every $100 down at the same time. Because fair enough, I mean, that is one of the times where, you know, it's kind of a viable strategy, because you can't really trap a bull in a bull market now, can you? But yes, you know, as it stands right now, I would like to see this next 4-hour closure above that 18.8 pivot. If that does happen, I extend that move to 19.3. I would be looking for a short-term pullback from there. However, that pullback likely does get slingshotted into new all-time highs, if I had to guess. And is it looking likely right now with 2 hours, 38 minutes, and 39 seconds left to go for Bitcoin? Potentially yes, but I still want to see it actually confirmed. And assuming that things, and let's just talk about the other scenario here too. If things do close down below 18.8, I'd still look at this as, you know, a likely pullback region. However, seeing as we already tested the 382 right here, the next algo target's actually going to be all the way down at the 0.5 at just under 18,000 bucks. So I do think that that's very much on the cards as long as this condition is not met, but it's only going to have a chance in the next 2 hours and 38 minutes. So I'm just sitting here watching, and with that said, I should also say, not going to do a Twitch stream today. I was dealing with food poisoning last night, I think, or at least I hope that's what it was, nothing like too sinister. But that presents a few issues for today, as I found that I can't really trust my farts. So I think it's probably best I don't do a stream. Otherwise, there might be some unexpected intermissions for indiscriminate amounts of times. And with that said, I would like to wish everyone the best once again. Take care, and until next time.